Welcome to the Foundations of Social Work. I'm Dr. Karen Ratabi, and today we'll look at the function and roles of social workers from the Dubai and Miley text, Social Work and Empowering Profession, Boston and Pearson. So we will look at the generalist approach to social work practice, including three core roles: consultancy, resource management, and education. And then we're going to look at the unique areas within each one of these roles. So just remember, in the generalist practice approach, we always want to think about fostering a comprehensive or wide-angle lens in view of our problems. And this means looking at understanding of problems across the transactional interactions amongst resource needs of individuals, organizations, and communities, as well as the influence of service delivery and social policies on all of these systems. Generalist practice gives us a broad range of interventions that contribute to large-scale solutions as well as localized or individual solutions at the micro level. And then we have an organizing framework that we think about for generalist social work practice that incorporates consultancy, resource management, and education. And we're going to look at those closely. We integrate the core elements of practice, policy, and research with these ideas. And the roles and strategies associated with each of these functions serves as a way to address social justice issues and human rights concerns. So as we think about these areas of practice, policy, and research, and then we think about consultancy, resource management, and education, our authors give us very clear overview here in their table. Notice that the practice areas focuses on working directly with our clients, as one would expect, and improving social functioning, and that includes practice and education and giving people the information they need to resolve their issues. But also think about pulling together with the client to resolve the social problems, and social workers draw on personal, organizational, and community life experiences of the client systems. Then at the policy level, social workers are involved in identifying areas that require change and creating policy that has impact at the practitioner, agency, and societal level within the consultancy role. And then we move over to practice wisdom in the research area, and empirically based research inform the practitioner in solving problems at all systems level. You can also see in the next row how resource management plays out, and then education, how it plays out. These are the ways the authors put forth this idea of policy, practice, and research is related to consultancy, resource management, and education. And here are the roles and strategies as a general overview. Note the consultancy function has enabler and counselor at the micro level, and then you can move across this table to see facilitator, organizational development, planner, research planning, colleague, professional acculturation. In the resource management function, we have broker and advocate, as well as case management as a strategy. At the meso level, social workers work as a convener and mediator and networking across and within systems. The macro level, activists and social action. And then at the professional level, we have catalyst as an area of expertise, as well as community service. And then we have the education function, teacher information processing. And then at the meso level, you have trainer and staff development. Then moving across the macro level, you have outreach, community education. And then at the professional level, research scholar, knowledge development. So let's look first at the consultancy role. This provides an opportunity for us to think about how social workers engage in professional activities through which the social workers and clients come together to initiate change and clarify clients' issues, working together to discover options and develop and implement plans of action. So this is coming together, the social worker and the client, and working through the challenges and coming up with a plan of action. And this consultancy role relies on both the expertise of the client as well as the social worker. Now, as social workers, we bring that professional or formal knowledge, values, and skills, while the clients bring knowledge, values, and skills based on their personal, organizational, and community life experiences. So in this consultancy role, have a look at this graphic and think about at the micro level, the role of enabler and strategy being counseling. That makes sense to us as social workers. And then think about the meso level. You can see facilitator as well as the organizational development strategy. And then at the macro level, we work as social planners, strategy being research and planning. So think about this graphic as a way to consider micro, meso, and macro levels of engagement. So consultancy roles, we incorporate counseling strategies that generate change with the client. And that counseling strategy is really works together with the client to identify their problems and come together for solutions. Then that's the micro level. Then at the meso level, the facilitator role focuses on organizational development strategies. At the macro level, the planner role comprises research and planning strategies to initiate large-scale change. This is the consultancy role. So the micro consultancy role in these counseling strategies, this is what you probably identified with as you came into social work as a practice profession. And you want to think about how practitioners work with clients to identify their needs, clarify their situations, and develop the capacity to deal effectively with their challenges. So they use varying approaches in order to provide the conditions necessary to clients to achieve the purposes, meet their challenges, and engage in their natural life development processes and carry out their tasks. Approaches include mutual aid through work with individuals and small groups. So this isn't just one-on-one counseling. It also includes small group work. And the conditions of change lie within individuals and within the transactions of other social systems. So meso consultancy, this is when the social worker is engaged as the facilitator. And that is when we work collaboratively with the meso level client systems to improve organizational planning. So this is that social services agencies and working across systems to promote patterns of communication and decision-making processes and administrative structures. Social workers are often facilitators in their own agency settings, and they enhance the cooperation of staff to increase the effectiveness of programs and services. Another part of organizational development is shaping of organizational policy. So are we reaching the targeted population is a question. Are services delivered effectively and efficiently? Another question. Are we monitoring and evaluating tools, measures success, and uncovering unexpected results? Evaluating program effectiveness. This is important as it tests the policy and its actual implementation in a program and its impact on the lives of consumers. That's the facilitator role. So as we moved across the macro consultancy, we think about the planner role. And that means when we work with communities and social structures to assess the unmet needs, we work together as a role of planner to set goals, develop policies, and initiate programs. Strategies associated with the planner include research and planning. So social planners are working to assist communities. They're planning, they're resolving community problems in health and human services. And that macro level focus of social workers as planners and community organizers necessary requires knowledge of social problems and social policies, community change theories, and macro change processes. So this consultancy role of planner uses specialized knowledge and skills in the areas of planning and research. They involve practitioners with community leaders and social service personnel coming together to address community needs and developing community resources. So as social planners, the activities include coordinating services, developing programs, evaluating policies' effectiveness, and advocating for social welfare reform. Social planners use research techniques such as needs assessments, service inventories, community profiles, environmental scans, and field research to further their understanding of social problems and discover potential solutions. So here we have the macro consultancy of social planning. See on the left, you have vision. This is an element of actually being a leader, being a visionary, and that means having an ability to look at the future and consider what is most ideal for the future, as well as starting to identify what should the outcomes be for the planning involved. And then you're always looking at how can we consider the environment? What are the demographics? What do we know about the people we're serving? What are their economic circumstances? And then what are the larger policy contexts, including legislation? And then we have to always consider our resource capability or capacity. And that is, can our organization move forward with the staffing and budget necessary in order to develop planning and develop programs and new services? And then at the planning processes, we're thinking about how do we bring people together to bring their consensus into the equation as we move forward with important decisions. And that means the involvement of stakeholders, as well as the assessment of the recommendations being made at that community level. And then as we implement new programs and services, we're always thinking about how do we evaluate and how do we make further enhancements of those services in programs with revisions. So, number 2, we have resource management. As social workers, we recognize that resources are essential as people who have information about resources are able to mobilize resources and they are resourceful. Being resourceful fosters a sense of competence. People need resources in order to accomplish tasks, achieve goals, and master life challenges. And they have resources of promote effective social functioning, growth, adaptation, and realization of potential in the general human welfare. So think about competence, task accomplishment, achievement of goals. Effective social functioning is a critical point of promoting social welfare, and reaching the fullest potential means addressing the barriers and gaps in opportunity to access available resources. As we assure that resources are available, we strengthen human relationships and create favorable conditions for the well-being of people and society. So here we have the next graphic. Think about resource management here. See, at the micro level, we have the role of the broker and the advocate with the strategy of case management. We've already looked at case management, but we'll consider it further. At the meso level, we have the role of convener and mediator, and that strategy is networking. And then at the macro level, we have activists, and this is where we think about advocacy, strategy being of social action. At the micro level, broker and advocate, you would think about the roles of social workers that link clients with the available resources, those things that are available to them in their community, in their resource systems. And social workers are acting as broker to intermediaries to advance the client's causes. The social worker can use case management frequently to coordinate the services of multiple providers. Social workers provide valuable information in order to link the client to available resources so they can access those resources in a manner that's effective. And they work collaboratively with clients to make sure that the assessment is correct about the particular situation, help to facilitate the client in making a choice about the various resources, help to expedite the client's contact with other agencies. That's in the linking. And then evaluate the process, specifically in case management. Were people able to move through the system and make the linkages to the resources they needed in order for them to make that internalized change, as well as looking at changing the system external to their own personal micro circumstances. So as brokers, we understand policies and procedures and referral agencies and maintain a network of professional relationships within the practice community so we can be effective as brokers. And we make referrals to organizations across the community is essential in this role. So role as advocate. Social workers often become aware of unmet needs in our work with individuals and families and groups, and we know the inequalities that result in the erosion of clients' civil, legal, and human rights. So as a result, we move towards client advocacy to focus on inequalities. We seek changes and exceptions to policy in relation to a specific client. But when the inequalities are addressed in policy, we shift to individual client to cause advocacy, and we help people obtain the resources is the point across each areas of advocacy. So case management is a strategy. As I said, we've already looked at case management, and this is a set of stages in which we move the client through goal setting and developing objectives and coming up with their process for making change. And we assist clients by working with them to evaluate their situation and help them link to or obtain the needed resources and monitor and evaluate the service delivery. We're thinking about coordinating services to ensure the accountability of service providers. In the mental health, disability, rehabilitation, family welfare, and services of older adults, they all use case management strategies. And clients in these fields often need help in accessing the variety of resources, making those linkages to critical resources such as housing, transportation, mental health services, and medical care, and other kinds of issues around income, education, and employment. So case management ensures comprehensive programs that meet clients' needs by coordinating services, linking the components of the service delivery system, and advocating clients' rights. Frequently, one agency does not provide all the services or programs that are necessary. We always have to think about what agencies provide what. How can we move people beyond our own system? Because case managers coordinate services, they facilitate using service options from multiple providers. And this includes a interdisciplinary teamwork. So effective case managers access only required services rather than create a maze of providers and services, which would result in compounding problems rather than enhancing solutions. So think about coordinating services and achieving continuity for clients in the case management function. At the meso-resource level, we have the convener and mediator roles, and this is that middle area of social work practice is the meso, and we act as intermediaries among representatives of groups and organizations when they just gather, such as in meetings, to identify common problems, formulate goals, discuss potential solutions, mobilize resources, and implement and evaluate plans of action. So, as we have networking strategies across diverse groups and organizations for common purposes and shared goals, is essential that we have these shared goals. And we have a variety of settings, including coalitions and interagency organizations. With these kinds of settings, we can have cooperative work that identifies the service gaps and barriers. These are essential for planning and making social change. Social workers can pull together the necessary actors to engage in collaborative planning, and working collaboratively empowers participants to generate meso-level change. Macro level, resource management, the activist role. This role will probably make sense to you, as social workers will work to bring together the key social and economic leaders at the community or societal level to initiate change. These strategies of social action promote social justice and human rights by influencing the allocation of resources, lobbying for legislative change, and initiating court actions. Social work activists raise the public's consciousness about social problems and injustice. So this is the consciousness raising aspect of resource management and the activist role. And as you mobilize the available resources to change the adverse conditions, we find in social activism, the activities range from garnering resources to enacting social reform. Mobilization implies working with the community groups to frame the shared agenda, clarify goals, and design and implement strategies for the purpose of acquiring a broad base of support for intended action. Education, the third area. We recognize that knowledge is power. We always know that knowledge is power, and education is a central force to empowerment-oriented practice. Social workers provide clients with the much-needed information to facilitate decision-making. Also, social workers may teach a variety of skills, life skills, for instance, to enhance clients' abilities to access opportunities and resources to reach their highest potential. We always want to think about how we're helping people reach their greatest potential. So as educational roles, there's three areas. We have the teacher role, that makes sense, and this expands micro-level clients' base of information through information processing strategies. And then we have the trainer role, and this focuses on organizations at the meso level as facilitators work with staff development strategies at these organizations. And then at the macro level, social workers will work as outreach managers to the community, and this role uses the community education strategies to provide information to the general public. Let's look at these roles more closely. So you see the micro level, the meso level, and the macro level, and these roles are all identified here. So the teacher role. So we're always looking at how can we work collaboratively with clients, social workers, and others as educators to provide opportunities for clients to understand the connection between social policy and their own situations to discover ways to affect policy issues individually and collectively. So they give the example of a group for single parents identifying inadequate daycare as a significant source of stress. And they have to learn how they can address the issue as a major matter of policy as a potential for increasing the group's sense of personal control and competence, as well as influencing policy changes. So as we work as teachers to explore these areas, we're thinking about information processing strategies to promote clients' development of skills and enhance their base of information. As we expand clients' base of information, as well, such as the example above, how the daycare is a significant source of stress and how they may alleviate this from a social policy perspective, we're always thinking about the information that's necessary and how we can, the power of information puts clients in the position of strength to make important decisions, to make their own self-determination and how they want to move forward. So information processing strategies involve communication processes for acquiring information, as well as giving a meaning to the information, such as processing, and then acting on the information in the way that utilizes and shares the information. This exchange of information may occur in structured client work or conferences, formalized instructional settings, as you might consider for teachers, as well as experiential exercises such as role-playing. So let's look at the meso level trainer role. As you think about organizations, you'll know that there are many trainers in these organizations to help bring together the social workers to provide instruction, such as formal groups and organizations. Staff development and training strategies we use are workshops, in-service experiences, and other continuing education. Trainers are educational resource specialists for informal groups, and they make presentations, they serve as panelists, conduct public forums, And very much so, they operate across all of these areas of activities as facilitators, including workshop sessions. Sometimes social workers are hired full time as trainers in organizations, and other times they flex into these necessary roles as needed. So at the macro level, we have the outreach role, and this is the idea. Through outreach, social workers can educate the general public, the citizenry, about the social issues, injustices, and the social services available. They use the community education strategies to spread information through various media and public relations activities. So in this current context, that would include social media and other ways of transmitting information across the community. And then through the outreach role at the macro level, social workers help citizens broaden their knowledge about social problems. They become more aware as citizens, as consumers, and they related social services that are there to help the consumers, those citizens, find those resources necessary to improve their coping and their resource management. As we increase awareness of problems and provide relevant information, you can encourage people to access those resources more quickly with outreach as a catalyst. Education through public information facilitates preventative actions. Thank you.